Good morning, everybody, on Facebook, and to those that I post this on YouTube too as well, when I get the chance. I just wanted to bring up, well, first of all, might as well get this out of the way. Don't worry about this here. It's just dealing with chapped lips during the winter. It really stinks. So, anyways, if you see it on top, this is bound to be, but never knew. I like to talk about something that it just came across my mind this morning. It's been on my mind for a while, but I don't really quite know why. But it's just something from when I was a kid. And that one thing, I find it a little interesting how as a child, and this is when I was a little kid, I say a little, but depending on what you call little. When I was a kid growing up, before I knew or even cared about anything about God or Christianity, I remember there was like little clips here and there and stuff of Martin Luther King Jr. on TV and stuff. And whenever Martin Luther King Day came along, while I was in school, there were times where they would play his message, "I Have a Dream," on the radio. Now, my parents really weren't the type to always listen to it every time it came on during the month it came on. But I remember that there were a couple of times where I did get to hear it, and I heard people talking about the difference and the impact it made in our society back then all the way to now, and what difference it made. And so I remember growing up thinking, now that's a man I would love to be like. Despite all the things despite some of the stuff I know now extra about this man, now that is, it's kind of heartbreaking. Because finding out some struggles that you don't expect a man of God to ever just let happen to him. But everybody's deals with their struggles differently. Some give in, some don't. So it really depends on how you view it and how you see it. So I remember as a child, there were times in my life where I would actually have moments where privately I would literally be trying to imagine, if I was Martin Luther King Jr., how would I say those words? I would literally try to mimic, or whatever, I'm trying to say, trying to imagine if I could make that kind of difference. How would I say it? And I would literally be in my own room, privately, as I would be literally just saying that, all this different stuff. And now as I'm getting older and stuff, and I look back, I think, wait a minute, I didn't really want to know anything about God or Christianity or nothing, because I was so used to the hurt by what I called, in this day and age, this time, the fake Christians in church. Judge you, point a finger at you because who knows why. Maybe, you have maybe you're the son of somebody. In this case, I still face some of that today. Not just from Christians, though. Some that know my family, but not all of them. It's just some. But anyways, and when it comes to it, the other part is, when you have something in your life, something you can't help, it's literally, you had it when you were born, and you had something happen to you 3 that only worsened it. So then instead of actually getting to know you, they judge you. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. But they don't get that. So how do you, as a child, go from hating Christianity, hating anything about God, but yet loving hearing a man like Martin Luther King Jr. speak, although he was dead by the time I was born? So how can anybody, he's really passed away in late 1960s. But as a child, I remember that. I'll never forget that. And now, here I am so many years later, from 2006, gave my life to Christ then, but it was not easy giving my life to Christ. took a miracle to save me. Now, some of you may think, well, it took a miracle for all of us. You're talking about a guy who was pretty much staunch atheist. I was angry at Christians because of the bad experience and the heartache I felt. No compassion, no love. Just tell you this and that and you're going to hell. That's what I got. That's what I knew about Christianity. All the stuff I heard about it, what they stood for, I was like, they don't even act upon what they say. I wanted nothing to do with that. Not hate. I didn't want hate. I didn't want judgmental people coming after me and all this. And then, all of a sudden, in my life, 2006 comes along, and that's when I experienced love. His love. And honestly, when it comes to it and all, I never knew that someday, after 2006, that it would be slowly but surely becoming a kind of man that God would be making out of me. Now, don't get me wrong. What I'm about to say, some of you may find interesting. As you may notice on Facebook, I don't just call out, say non-believers and all this. I don't. I just don't. I don't say anyhow. When I say just, I don't mean I don't just say something directly to them. I feel that my calling is to help Christians to be growing continually and to going out to spread the gospel. Enough of the chit-chat. Are we going to do it from here? And that's where I feel led to be. Little did I know that today I would be where I am and then have a group page, a group thing on Facebook where I would have 1,300 so-called people on there. Now, just because I have all this stuff on there, and not even just that, but just really just loving to grow in the Lord and being around people who love Him as much as I do and more and whatever else, I never dreamed I would ever be in this place where I am. Especially from a kid. I never imagined it. And I'm so thankful that God really came into my life at that time when I needed Him most. Because at that time in 2006, at 15 years old, as many of you have saw on my Facebook, I was ready to commit suicide at 15 years old. I was ready to end it all. Now here I am. It's going on. Honestly, let's see. It's pretty much from that time, I guess, let's see, how do I put this? Let's say, it'll be pretty much just about, it would be like almost 14 years later, here I am alive today. Who would have known that a kid that would be trying to imagine what would he do if he were able to touch lives and do things like Martin Luther King Jr. would be in this position today, where I literally get to love and help people, and I get to do things every chance I get, and even have a Facebook that now is just growing constantly, and my group page is growing. Never stops growing, my group page. And again, I say group page, but I mean my group. It's private now because I'm careful about who I let in. But 1,300. I mean, that's all him. I'm just a volunteer. I'm nothing else. I'm a regular human being who loves God, and I am one who has made many mistakes. But I'm so thankful to Him. And that's the message I want to bring to people. And not even just that, but talk about hell, the judgment day, and striving to really go after the Bible. Make it your heart's desire. That's where I'm at. And so I just felt led this morning to really talk about that. I normally don't like talking about myself. In all honesty, I absolutely hate it. Because when I think about literally talking about myself, the first thing that goes through my mind is, oh boy, I'm going to sound like one of those who just makes it about themselves. So I've been around people who do that, and I'm just like, ugh, you don't realize how bad you're making yourself look by just talking about yourself. So, but again, I just want to say, He is so good, and if you give Him a chance, if you're a non-believer, you will see He is so amazing. But if you are a Christian, I say this to you. Please go read your Bible. Pray every day. Be open to improvement. Be open to receive positive, loving correction. Now, you may have family members that may be straightforward and in a way where it's cut and dry and it hurts. But if you know it's good advice and it's good for you, strive to follow it. But just whenever you give that same advice to others once you have improved, do it in a way that you know will work for the next person. Okay? God bless all of you and have a wonderful day.